Today we're going to be talking about this pen. This is made by Maiora. Maiora is a company owned by, if I'm not mistaken, a gentleman who was the boss of Delta. And what we see here is a very Delta-esque pen. The first thing I thought of when I opened this was, oh, Dolce Vita. It really looks like the Dolce Vita with the cap band, the overall design, the size. It's not quite the Dolce Vita oversize, but I would say a Dolce Vita, the normal size. Sorry. And I'm not saying that in a bad way either, but I thought that was a very nice pen design, so quite nice. Maiora. This is the Notteluna, and this happens to be the gold trim. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. And the pen was lent to me by Joost Appelboom. So if you want one, you can go to Appelboom's website and click the banner on my website and you get a 10% discount. So let's cover the parts of this pen. Okay, let's talk about the Maiora Notteluna in the gold trim. Let's first talk about the box, then I'll show you the pen and its parts. So we have this nice cardboard outer sleeve. It says here, fountain pens, Italian craftsmanship for more than 40 years. There is a design URL here, which is interesting. I wonder if they made the pen or the box, and I didn't notice that before, sorry, otherwise I would have looked it up. Maiora pen, social media presence, kind of fun. You don't see that a lot in pen companies that they advertise that, but that's kind of cute. Notteluna in rose gold, medium nib, and that's it. So out comes the actual box, which has an interesting texture. I like the Maiora logo a lot. It says Maiora Writing Culture. In the box, quite fun, is a bottle of ink, which I haven't used or opened. It looks black to me in this light, but it could be a blue. But because it's not my pen, I won't touch that. And then there is a little booklet which has a bit of history and such on the company, and then a warranty slip. And then of course the pen would be in there, but it's not because it's here. Let's look at the pen and talk about it a bit. I'll zoom in so you can get a better view of it. This is the pen next to a Pilot Metropolitan, so it's a larger pen. They come in different finishes. This is the rose gold trim. There's also a gold trim. I think I said initially that was gold trim, but sorry, I meant rose gold. 487 euros and 60 cents, excluding VAT. Extra fine, fine, medium, broad, 1.1, 1.5 millimeter nibs, as well as extra fine and fine flex nibs. Same dimensions as the Mytho from this company, and as I said, there are different finishes of the cap band: gold plated, palladium plated, rose gold plated, and ruthenium plated. A piston filling system, which is quite nice, and a bottle of ink is included, and an ink window, which I also really appreciate in piston fillers. So let's maybe talk about the parts of this pen. The parts! I sounded like Kermit all of a sudden, I don't know why. So this is not, for the record, this is not clear filled with black ink. This is a black material. So on top, finial, same material as the rest of the cap. We do have the nice rose gold clip, which seems a little off-center, but there we are. Very Delta style, right? With the little wheel. These clips work very well with those wheels, I found. A nice center band, also very much in Delta style with that scroll work. I've always quite liked that. And it does have gold markings on it. What do you call that? Hallmarks, the word, sorry. A lot of little rose gold rings. Piston turning knob, which I won't engage because the pen is full of ink. Same material as the cap. It looks like an ivory, and I know that's not for everyone. I think it works quite well in this pen, especially paired with the black, but some people are really put off by something that's even ivory colored, even if it's not actual ivory. I've experienced that in the pen community. Tapered down, really reminiscent to me of the Delta Dolce Vita, which was a very nice pen. It came in an oversized, there was a normal size, there was a sort of a mini and then a micro, so there was a slim and then there was an even smaller sort of pocket pen. I've reviewed a lot of these. You have to go into my website and find the links, but they exist. Okay, you unscrew the cap, then you can see the ink window. It's not visible when capped. It is in some pens. Oops, I'm sorry, I just pulled in my microphone cord. Like this Joya, you can see the ink window as the pen is capped. Not everybody cares. I always think that's a nice touch, but it's just it's preference. This ring is nicely rounded off. It's very nicely rounded. We have a section that tapers down a little bit and flares out ever so slightly. And a pretty sharp edge, but I'll come back to that. This nib looks to me like a Jowo nib. It is number 6. It is laser engraved with Maiora. It says Italy, and on the side it says M for medium. I don't know if you can tell, but it is there. Nice size of pen, larger, but not obscenely so. And if you really want to, you can post it, then it becomes a really big pen. But you could, if you, excuse me, if you really wanted to. Now, writing, I would say. Here we have the Maiora Notteluna. Just have to double check how to spell that, sorry. This is medium, and this is the Eldergraph, I keep forgetting the name, Eldergraph, Ethergraph, etc. Blue. Pleasant writer, brown, sorry. Pretty good. It's not a buttery smooth writer, as the kids say, but pretty good. No real skips in that ink flow as far as I can tell. Certainly not the world's wettest pen, but it's not excessively dry either. Line variation, not a flex nib, but it's pretty rigid. I was definitely pushing that a bit. It's not a flex nib, right? So you do this at your own risk, but you can squeeze out a bit of line variation if that really matters to you. Whether that's wise, that's a different story. Okay. Reverse writing. Definitely gets scratchier, but you can. I've seen way worse where the nib actually cuts into the paper. This one doesn't do that. If you really need to take something from a medium, and I find there's a fairly skinny medium to begin with, to be honest, you can, and then you get something like an extra fine, I would say. So for those of you who enjoy that, it is a possibility. We have the technology. Let's talk about likes and dislikes. What do I like? What do I not like? I think there are a couple of things really to be liked. It's a larger pen without being excessively large. I think this is a pen size that would work for a lot of people. I find it comfortable. A little bit of fluff on the nib, sorry. I find it comfortable. I have no issues writing with this. The posting is not super deep, so you get a really quite sizable pen, but even unposted, it's I would say definitely big enough to be used comfortably. I like the looks of it quite a lot. I like there is an ink window. Always nice with the piston filler, so you know how much ink you have left. That's not visible once the pen is capped, unlike on say this Joya where you can actually see it capped. I'm not saying that's a huge issue, because if you uncap it, you decide there's no ink in it, and you want to refill it, you have to uncap it anyway, don't you? Anyway, so just saying that there is that. Other things, piston filler, that is nice. I do find it comfortable. I hope one day that maybe we would be able to see something like this with a number 8 nib, because I find that in this model, number 6 is starting to look a little small, and it is an actual number 6 nib. All things I like. Things I don't like so much. There are two main things that actually three things that I noticed. One is a very small thing. This part of the section is quite sharp, and that may not be an issue. There's a lot of section, so you can hold it, you cannot feel it, but if you are one of those people who hold their pens quite close to the nib, I know I've seen people do this, so I know there are people like that out there. You are going to feel that edge because it's sharp. It's pretty much a 90-degree angle, so you will feel that. That's one thing. Second thing I would say is I had three things and I'm now blanking on my second thing. What was my second thing? Okay, moving on. I find that, oh, I remember what it was, sorry. This kind of material for the section, when it's so pale, it always makes me nervous when there's no converter or there's no cartridge. Converter doesn't really matter, cartridge option. You have to dip this into a bottle of ink. And I'm always afraid with this very sort of pale material, whether it's fully white or ivory colored or cream colored or off-white, that it will stain. And I don't know if that's just a psychological thing of this looks like a stainable material because it is whiter than, say, this on this Joya. I'm sorry to keep comparing them, but I just had this lying in my lap because I'm recording a couple of reviews. This to me looks not as stainable as this. And again, I think it might be a psychological effect, but whatever it is, always makes me a bit nervous. So make sure you have a cloth at the ready so that you can quickly wipe things down. The final thing I will say, and I have the feeling that that is a more objective criticism, it's a €487 pen, that is not including that, and it's steel nib. I get the piston filler, and that's great. And I think it's a really nice pen. I think it looks nice. There are different finishes available with different color schemes if this black and sort of, let's call it ivory, is not really your thing. But for almost €500, I would expect a gold nib. I think at that point it's not an upgrade or, well, you know, it would be nice if, I think at that price it should be a solid gold nib. And that's a shame, because this looks like a Jowo nib with the Maiora logo laser engraved. And I don't have anything against that. A good Jowo nib, there's nothing wrong with that. I have many Jowo nibs. It's just that the price of the pen, I feel, warrants something more than that. And that doesn't have to be actually engraved with the Maiora logo, but I think gold is the way to go at this price. Let me know what you think about that, because I'm always curious to see what other people feel about that kind of stuff. Hope this was useful. Remember, if you want it, 10% discount by clicking the banner on my website. That's all there's to it. So, I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye!